Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're diving deep into an extraordinary story that sounds almost too unbelievable to be true. It's the tale of a small copper coin, no bigger than the tip of your finger, that somehow ended up becoming one of the most expensive and sought-after pieces of metal in numismatic history. We're talking about a 1-cent coin, dated 1987, that reportedly fetched a jaw-dropping $16 million. That's right. A single penny, the kind you might ignore on a sidewalk, turned out to be worth more than most luxury homes, cars, or even some private islands. And the journey it took from being just another coin in someone's pocket to becoming a legendary collector's item is absolutely fascinating. Let's rewind time. The year is 1987. The Cold War is still in full swing. Ronald Reagan is the President of the United States. Michael Jackson is ruling the pop charts, and technology is on the cusp of transforming the world forever. But amid all the political and cultural milestones of that year, no one noticed something else that happened, something so subtle and ordinary that it slipped beneath the radar. A single coin rolled off the minting press, destined to become one of the rarest, most valuable objects in coin collecting history. Now, you might be thinking, how could a penny from 1987 be worth millions of dollars? It's not ancient, it's not gold, and it's not associated with any major historical figure. The answer lies in a mix of rarity, error, mystery, and a little bit of luck. The story begins in a small town, in a dusty coin shop run by an elderly collector who had been in the business for over 40 years. One slow afternoon, a teenage boy walked in, looking to trade a few coins from his grandfather's old collection. He pulled out a handful of old change, mostly common pieces with little value. But among them was one strange coin, an ordinary-looking penny, dated 1987, that had a different luster to it. It seemed heavier. Thicker. The color was just slightly off. The shop owner, who had seen millions of coins in his lifetime, immediately noticed something odd. But instead of brushing it off, he carefully placed it under his magnifying glass. He examined it for a few moments before realizing this wasn't a typical 1987 penny. The dimensions were slightly off. The weight was a fraction heavier. The design had the faintest misalignment, almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. But more importantly, the coin seemed to be made from a different metal alloy than the ones minted that year. That's when his hands began to shake slightly. He had seen rare coins before, but nothing quite like this. He purchased the entire batch from the boy for a modest price, not letting on that he may have found something of enormous value. Over the next several weeks, he reached out to experts, sent the coin for professional grading, and waited for confirmation. When the results came back, his suspicions were validated. The coin was not just rare, it was unique. It was the only known example of a 1987 1-cent coin that had been mistakenly struck on a copper planchet from 1943, which should not have even been in the mint at that time. A once-in-a-lifetime minting error, but how did a 1943 copper planchet even end up in the mint 4 decades later? That's where the mystery gets even deeper. The United States Mint, especially in the mid-20th century, was supposed to have strict protocols for disposing of outdated or unused materials. In 1943, the U.S. had briefly switched from copper to steel for penny production because copper was needed for the war effort. A few copper planchets, however, were accidentally used in that year, creating some of the rarest coins in U.S. history. Those coins themselves have fetched hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. But for one of those planchets to survive all the way until 1987, and then be used in production, that was something numismatic experts struggled to explain. Some believed it was an intentional act by a mint employee, a rogue collector with insider access. Others speculated it was a freak accident, the result of an overlooked or misplaced planchet getting caught in a machine and only being discovered decades later. Whatever the case, the coin was real, authenticated, and entirely unique. Once word got out about this mysterious penny, collectors began to salivate. Rumors swirled through coin shows, forums, and auction houses. Offers started pouring in, each one more extravagant than the last. But the original owner of the coin, the humble shopkeeper, decided to hold on to it. For a while, at least for nearly 2 decades, the coin stayed hidden away in a private vault. Occasionally, whispers of its existence would resurface, but no official sales or public appearances were made. Then, in 2019, everything changed. A private auction was held, by invitation only. Attendees were among the wealthiest and most serious collectors in the world. And it was there that the 1987 1-cent coin was sold to an anonymous bidder for a record-breaking $16 million. The news made headlines in the numismatic world, shocking even seasoned veterans. People who had scoffed at the idea of modern coins being valuable suddenly took a second look at their spare change. Coin dealers were flooded with curious newcomers hoping to strike it rich. But none matched the rarity or the story of that single 1987 penny. In the aftermath of the sale, a few intriguing developments occurred. Some theorized that the coin's price was inflated due to its provenance and the mystery surrounding its creation. Others argued it was a justified value, an artifact of modern history, a one-of-a-kind era that could never be replicated. Either way, it sparked a renewed interest in coin collecting across generations. Schools started inviting coin experts to give talks. Television segments were aired about the million-dollar penny. Even social media jumped on the trend, with TikTok and Instagram users posting videos about their coin collections, hoping to find hidden gems. But perhaps the most surprising impact was on the boy who had originally traded in the coin decades earlier. After the story broke, he came forward, not with anger or regret, but with genuine curiosity. He had no idea that the coin he sold as a teenager would become so legendary. He was just happy that something from his grandfather's old drawer had ended up in the spotlight. In fact, the story inspired him to start his own collection. He began traveling to coin shows, reading up on numismatic history, and even working part-time at a coin appraisal firm. What started as a forgotten transaction turned into a lifelong passion. And in a strange twist of fate, he found a new calling, preserving the stories behind the smallest objects that often carry the greatest weight. So what makes a coin truly valuable? Is it its age? Its material? Its rarity? Or is it the story, the journey it takes from ordinary to extraordinary? For the 1987 1-cent coin, it was all of the above. A perfect storm of history, error, timing, and mystery. It's a reminder that sometimes, the most unexpected items can hold immense value, not just in dollars, but in the narratives they carry. And here's the takeaway: the world is full of hidden treasures. They're in your attic, your drawers, your pockets. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with curiosity and a keen eye to uncover them. So next time you find a coin on the ground or stumble across an old box of change, take a moment. Look a little closer. You never know, you just might be holding the next million-dollar penny. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more amazing tales from the world of rare collectibles, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload. I've got more unbelievable stories coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.